popular requested video, the BTS Mama 2018 Artist of the Year speech. If you've been with me through the BTS journey, this is my 7th video on BTS. I'm a communication skills coach, and what I do on this channel is I react to all different types of people's conversations, interviews, and presentations, and I give you my thoughts on their communication skills. Guys, we're on our way to 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so if you haven't yet, do your boy a favor and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot, and I plan on putting out tons and tons of all different types of content, including more BTS. So, thanks for tuning in. Let's get started with the video.
Artist of the Year. 올해 가수상만이 남아있는데.
I'm curious to know how famous they were at this point.
BTS.
The boys! Woo! Looking good. The boys are looking good. Did any of you guys watch this live? You know what I'm looking at right now, right? I just got a glimpse of Suga out of the corner of my eye. You can see the excitement in everyone else's body language and their face. And Suga's just strolling along like it was meant to happen. Look at V, man. V's loving it. He's got his arms out. Interesting to see V be the first one to lead the group down the stage. The excitement and the pride is beaming from our boy V. So that's cool to see too. And then RM right there, happy as ever. Good to see these boys so happy. Okay, I like it. J-Hope taking the lead on the mic. I like it.
정말 올라오기 전에 걱정을 많이 했어요. 무대를 올라오기 전에 심장을 졸이면서 정말 무대 준비를 하는 것 같아요.
That's the thing I've mentioned about BTS before, and one of the things I'm growing to love about them is their vulnerability, is their ability to express their emotions so openly, honestly, and freely.
올라오기 전에 걱정을 많이 했어요.
It's very human to feel sad and depressed and anxious, and we connect with these human elements in people. And one of the #1 things that helps audiences connect with speakers is when the speaker themselves can be a little more vulnerable, when they can open up. So when these guys are on stage speaking, and when the cameras are on them and they're expressing their vulnerability, it just allows us to connect with them so much more. On top of the fact that we really admire their skill set and their ability as artists, and they all also have these awesome personalities that shine.
정말 감사드리고 지금 이 순간 같이 있는 우리 멤버들에게 너무 고맙다라는 말을 해주고 싶어요. 감사합니다. 사랑합니다.
Wow, goosebumps. J-Hope expressing some real emotion there. You know, the moment got to him. Real gratitude. That's what I'm sensing. These guys, RM talks about it all the time. The gratitude and the appreciation they have for their fans, and the awareness and recognition that they wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for ARMY, if it wasn't for their fans. And I think these guys push themselves to their very limit because they know they have this fan base that adores them, and they want to bring their A+ game every single time. So you saw J-Hope just, you know, getting emotional there, the moment hitting him there, expressing his gratitude. That was a real genuine moment.
아멘! 감사합니다. 저희가 올해를 보내오면서
The moment's hitting Jin too, it looks like. The moment's hitting Jin too. I might have to rewatch this again after, just all the way through and take it in. So right now I'm sort of in analytical reaction mode.
조금 힘든 일들도 있을 수도 있잖아요. 저희가 그런 일들을 겪어오면서 저희끼리 모여서 얘기.
As much as we look up to these guys and appreciate and respect these guys, you know, it doesn't come without the hardships as well. And I think that's probably part of the reason that they're so emotional. They are the only ones that really know how much work they put into it. And if they didn't put a lot of work into it, you wouldn't see this type of emotion from them. They have a massive responsibility, and they've owned up to that responsibility. They have thousands and thousands, not thousands and thousands, what am I talking about? Millions and millions of adoring fans. That's a big responsibility, and you can tell they take that responsibility very seriously.
얘기했듯이 여러분들이 저희를 자랑스러워하는 그 자부심은 곧 저희의 자부심이기 때문입니다. 그래서 내년은 더 좋은 모습 보여드리고.
Man, looking at RM's getting me a little emotional, just seeing him emotional. You know, the amount of pride he takes in his work and the amount of pride he has in being a leader. You know, he takes his leadership role seriously, and I've mentioned this many times. What an awesome leader he is. I don't know if I have a bias, but I really admire RM. Jim in there, very composed, so we'll talk about his speech really quickly. Very eloquent, very soft-spoken. He seems very sweet. But also what I noticed he was doing well as a public speaker was he was making sure to look around and engage his audience. Sometimes what you'll see with public speakers is they'll look entirely at one section or one person in the audience the entire time, and they're ignoring the other parts of their audience. So what happens when you ignore the other parts of your audience, those parts of your audience don't feel as engaged, and there's a less likely chance of them listening and connecting with you. So a really good public speaker, what you'll see is they'll often look at different parts of their audience and make it a point to engage with everyone. So Jimin did a great job there with his eye contact and his body language.
일단 이 방송을
Wow, V getting some serious screams from the audience. He's getting some big cheers.
저희가 받을 수 있는 게 정말 믿기지 않고 이상 부끄럽지 않게 정말 열심히 하는 가수가 되겠습니다. 그리고
Overwhelming, right? Overwhelming with emotion and joy and pride and gratitude. This is different. This is very different from a lot of the speeches you see at award shows, the acceptance speeches that seem kind of rehearsed. They seem like, you know, you'll see celebrities and musicians sort of rattle off a list a lot of the time of people who they need to thank. And yeah, I'm sure they're grateful, but this is a whole different level of gratitude. It's a whole different level of just humility in a sense.
받을 수 있는 게 정말 믿기지 않고
You know, a lot of them have said just because they receive the award, it doesn't mean they're done working. It's like, no, this award is actually a symbol that they actually want to work harder, that they need to work harder, which is incredible. Like everything they do seems to be for their fan base in that way. And we talk about giving. Like when you talk about giving, there's actually been studies on this where they asked people whether they gained more pleasure and happiness out of giving gifts or receiving gifts. And the studies generally point to people they derive more happiness out of giving gifts as opposed to receiving them. And I think there's something to be said here. They get so much joy out of giving.
아미분들이 저에게는 정말 값진 선물인 것 같습니다. 정말 감사하고 정말 사랑합니다. 감사합니다.
Just a lot of gratitude in all of these speeches. That's sort of the key theme amongst the speeches so far. Boy, Suga's up next.
기쁘고요. 네, 항상 저희 지켜봐 주시는 아미 여러분들, 아미 여러분들 주시장에서 생각하고 더 열심히 하겠습니다. 또 저희 7
이 형제를 낳아주신 우리
I'm always just sort of latched on to what Suga says, and I say this about him all the time. He's just so real. You're getting a real expression from him. You're getting real words from him. If he speaks, it has meaning. Suga doesn't strike me as the guy who's going to speak for the sake of speaking. That's something I've come to learn about him. He's not putting on an act. He's a lot more stoic than the guys, though. A lot of these guys, especially J-Hope and RM and even Jimin, they're very expressive in their face. You can read their faces.
있는 해인가랄 만큼 기뻤는데 2019년은 더 멋있고 더 기쁜 한 해 만들도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Right, he had the award at his face. He was a little closed off. Not a big deal. Obviously, this is an exception, this award show. But generally, when you're doing a public speaking address, you see speakers who are a little more open with their body language. They're not closed off with their arms or their shoulders. So I wonder, I know Suga's obviously a performer. That's what he does for a living. But when he's in these sort of speaking engagements, you know, Suga strikes me as the type of guy who doesn't necessarily love the spotlight on him. He's fine with it, but in these types of controlled environments, my sense is he doesn't like that as much. Jin! The last video I watched, I loved Jin. It was the conflict between Jin and V. And just seeing Jin's humility, his ability to resolve conflict in such a way where he was able to put aside his ego, regardless of his age, regardless of whether he was right or wrong, admitted where he was sensitive, was completely open and honest, just incredible conflict resolution skills, and a side of Jin that I hadn't seen before. Hadn't really seen the more sensitive, vulnerable side from him.
심적으로 많이 힘들었었어요. 그래서 저희끼리 얘기를 하면서 해체를 할까 말까 고민도 했고 근데 다시 마음을 정말 다잡고 이렇게
You see V? That sentence hit V there. That sentence hit V. See, these guys are the only ones that really know what they go through. And you guys would know a lot more than me. I know there's a lot of content out there on them. But the hard work, only they can really experience that. The arguments, the hard times, only they really experience that. And just by the emotion that's displayed on their face, you can see that it's real. I didn't know that they were going to disband. Wow. Wow, I did not know that they were thinking about that. And again, just leading off with vulnerability. You know, what better way to have your audience interested and engage and connect with you than to lead off with a little bit of vulnerability and realness.
이렇게 좋은 성적을 낼 수 있게 돼서 너무 다행.
When you get emotional like this and you're full of gratitude, what I find often with people is this is what gets them in a very honest mindset. Like when you're emotional and you're just feeling grateful, it's like, what do I have to lose? It's almost like you lose that layer of protection and just speak from the heart. And that's what Jin's doing. And that's what all of them are doing. They're just speaking from the heart. And there's no better way in a public speaking scenario, there's no better way to engage your audience. So if you're doing a presentation out there, there's no better way to engage your audience than to speak from the heart. Your audience will feel when you're being authentic. Someone who's a little more bottled up and put together, we don't necessarily feel that passion. We don't feel that authenticity. And as a result, it's harder to connect with them. You're feeling all that now from these guys. You're feeling the passion. You're feeling the emotion.
다시 마음 다잡아준 우리 멤버들에게 너무 고맙고 저희 항상 사랑해주시는 멤버들에게 너무 감사하다고 사랑해주는 아미들에게 너무 감사하다고 얘기하고 싶습니다.
And then Jungkook bringing V in there. Man, Jin's such a sweet guy. He's such a sweet guy. He really is sensitive. You know, he likes to joke around with you and have fun with you. But he's got a real light heart, a real sensitive heart. V too, man. This really hit V hard. I think out of all of them, he looks like he's the one that's most emotional. So he's obviously really sensitive. This hit him hard as well. We don't know the battles and the struggles these guys have in their own minds, in their own hearts. So, you know, when you see this, you kind of get a glimpse of, okay, you know, there was a lot that went on. You know, all that emotion's coming out.
와, 멋진 수상 소감 잘 들었습니다.
Were those Stray Kids at the end there? Is that Bangchan that I noticed? I don't think so. Wow, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Very emotional. Like, how can you not want them to win, right? Like, we cheer for them. I think part of why we cheer for them so much is because of their gratitude and humility. Like, we don't really cheer for the people as hard who are as conceited or arrogant or ungrateful. And these guys not only are so grateful, but they work so hard. And I think probably you guys would know better, but it seems to me like the fan base not only understands how much hard work they put into their craft, but also how grateful they are. And the combination of their gratitude, their hard work, mixed with their unbelievable skill set is what really makes us cheer for them and, you know, go on this journey with them. So, another incredible video that I just witnessed here. Thank you so much for the suggestions. If you want to watch the uncut version of this video, you can. It's on my Patreon page. The link is below. I've also got a ton of other BTS content on there, uncut, and a bonus video as well that I think you'll definitely enjoy. Other than that, I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for all your feedback, all your comments, everything. My name is Max. I will catch you soon. Peace.